Can new cheap beat old proven? $69,500, the price of a brand new airplane in 2026. Not used. Factory built, it burns 2 gallons an hour of gas station fuel. Meanwhile, a 1968 Cessna 150 with 5,600 hours sells for $57,000, and the engine needs a $20,000 overhaul nobody talks about. One has 22,000 brothers and a 60-year track record. The other has 70 owners, a proprietary engine with 780 hours of test data, and 0 accident history because there is not enough history to have one. Which one makes you broke faster? $69,500 for a brand new airplane. $57,901 for a 58-year-old Cessna 150 with faded paint, tired avionics, and an engine already overdue for a $20,000 teardown. Forget the fantasy of barn finds and $20,000 trainers. Those days are gone. The price tags are right there in black and white. A factory-fresh Spirit SE-1 with its 2 gallons an hour of pump gas and a warranty still warm from the printer sits just $12,000 above a Cessna that rolled out of Wichita before most of today's pilots were born. The sticker shock is not just about the SE-1's price, it is the Cessna S2. In 2010, a decent Cessna 150 changed hands for $28,000. Now, the same airframe with another 1,000 hours on the clock and a logbook full of yellow tags fetches nearly $60,000. The market is not rewarding low time or pristine logbooks. It is punishing scarcity. Every year, a few more 150s vanish to mishaps or corrosion, and the survivors get bid up by desperate buyers who just want to fly something they can afford to insure. But that cheap Cessna? It is a mirage. The $57,901 listing does not include the $10,000 engine reserve you will need if the O200 coughs up a valve. It does not show the $3,000 in annual inspections, the $150 a month for a hangar, or the $900 insurance bill waiting in your inbox. And it definitely does not warn you about the surprise AD that can land like a brick through your budget. The price on the page is only the opening bid. The real cost starts the day you sign and never stops climbing. The SE-1, meanwhile, wears its price like a dare. It is new, it is shiny, and it promises to burn less gas than a lawn tractor, but with only 70 on the register and a proprietary engine. Nobody has rebuilt in the field, its numbers are as much hope as history. The price gap is narrow, but the financial risk is a chasm. In this market, cheap to buy and cheap to own are two very different stories. On paper, the Spirit SE-1 and the Cessna 150 could not be more different. The SE-1 is a single-seat, minimalist machine with a 42 horsepower 2-cylinder engine. It sips fuel at just 2 gallons per hour and carries a total of 8 gallons in the tank. No back seat, no baggage compartment, and no illusions about utility. The airframe is as simple as a lawn tractor, built to keep moving parts and surprises to a minimum. The architecture is straightforward: fixed tricycle gear, basic analog instruments, and a structure designed for easy inspection. Every ounce saved is an ounce you do not have to pay to maintain or replace. The Cessna 150, by contrast, is a full 2-seater with a 100 horsepower Continental O200 up front. Fuel burn averages 6 gallons per hour in cruise, with a standard capacity of 26 gallons, enough for several hours aloft, plus reserves. The airframe is all metal, high wing, and built to FAA Part 23 standards. It is a certified trainer, not a toy, with a second seat for instruction or company, and a logbook stretching back decades. The systems are robust: dual magnetos, carbureted induction, mechanical flaps, and a panel that has seen everything from round dials to retrofit glass. On a pure spec sheet, the numbers are stark. The SE-1, 42 horsepower, 2 gallons per hour, 8 gallons total, single seat, fixed gear, and a promise of simplicity. The Cessna, 100 horsepower, 6 gallons per hour, 26 gallons in the tanks, 2 seats, certified structure, and a service history that fills filing cabinets. These are not just numbers for a brochure. They are the foundation for every calculation that follows. The math that determines how far you can go, how long you can fly, and how much you will spend to keep the thing legal and safe. Before any cost breakdown, before any debate about value, these specs are the hard limits. They dictate what each airplane can actually do and what it can never do, no matter how you spin the sales pitch. Hangar space is the first line on the ledger. In most areas, a basic T-hangar for a Cessna 150 costs between $150 and $250 per month, adding up to $1,800 to $3,000 a year. Some owners opt for cheaper tie-downs, but exposure to sun, hail, and wind brings its own repair bills. Insurance is next. For a 58-year-old Cessna 150, hull and liability coverage typically runs $500 to $1,200 annually, with rates shaped by pilot experience, claims history, and whether the plane is used for training. Insurers are increasingly wary of older, low-value airframes, making coverage harder to secure each year. Annual inspections are non-negotiable. Every certified aircraft must pass a yearly inspection by an A&P mechanic with inspection authorization. For the Cessna 150, a basic annual costs $1,000 to $1,700, covering labor and a clean logbook. Routine parts such as filters, spark plugs, and oil push the total closer to $2,000. Miss a maintenance item or uncover corrosion, and costs can jump quickly. Owners flying more than 100 hours a year for hire face additional 100-hour inspections, but most private owners avoid this. Fuel is the main variable expense. The O200 engine burns about 6 gallons of 100 LL per hour. At $6 a gallon, that is $36 an hour. Flying 100 hours a year means $3,600 in fuel alone. Oil changes add up too. 4 quarts every 25 hours at $8 each, plus filters and disposal, total $150 to $300 a year. A prudent owner sets aside an engine reserve. The O200 has a time between overhauls of 1,800 to 2,000 hours, and overhauls run $10,000 to $14,000. Saving $7 to $12 per flight hour, $700 to $1,200 a year, prepares for the inevitable rebuild. All told, hangar, insurance, annual inspection, fuel, oil, and the engine reserve bring recurring costs to $7,000 to $9,000 a year for a typical Cessna 150 owner flying 100 hours, assuming nothing unexpected breaks and airport fees hold steady. One logbook entry can erase the illusion of savings. It happens fast. A Cessna 150 bought for $57,901 looks like a deal until the first annual inspection lands with a $3,200 invoice and a note that the O200 is 15 years past its last teardown. The shop calls. Compression is low on number 3. The AD on the camshaft is mandatory. The owner faces a choice: gamble on a patch or write a check for a full overhaul. That is another $20,000, parts and labor, just to make the airplane legal. The total outlay, purchase, annuals, and overhaul hits $81,101 before the second year even begins. This is not a rare event. Overhaul shops from Florida to Oregon report waitlists, and prices have doubled since 2020. The $10,000 overhaul of a decade ago is gone. Today, $18,000 is typical if you want a warranty and a reputable shop. Some owners pay $24,000 after core charges and accessory work. Engines are the wild card, and the odds are getting worse. The market inflation is real. In 2010, a Cessna 150 cost $30,000, and a fresh engine was $7,000. Now the same airplane fetches nearly $60,000, and overhaul is 3 times as much. The math is brutal: $30,000 for the airplane, $7,000 for the annuals and reserves, $20,000 for the first engine event. That is $57,000 just to reach parity with today's asking price, and it does not count insurance, hangar, or fuel. Every owner who thinks they have outsmarted the market gets the same call, sooner or later. The used airplane discount vanishes with one major maintenance event. The spreadsheet does not care about nostalgia, it only cares about cash flow and risk. The old Cessna's price advantage is paper thin, and the real cost of entry is whatever the next inspection uncovers. That is the difference between buying a dream and owning a liability. On the spreadsheet, the Spirit SE-1 looks like the cheapest way to keep an airplane in the air since the 1970s. The company claims it burns just 2 gallons of regular car gas per hour. At today's $3.50 a gallon, that is $7 for 60 minutes of flight. No avgas, no mixing, no premium upcharge. For a 100-hour flying season, the fuel bill barely cracks $700, less than the Cessna 150 spends in 2 weeks of typical use. That kind of number gets attention. Buyers notice, and so do the sales charts. The manufacturer's press releases boast over 70 units delivered, with more on back order. For a new design, that is real momentum, especially in a market where most kit planes struggle to sell a dozen. The pitch is straightforward. If you can afford a used car, you can own a new airplane. No waiting for hangar space either. The folding wings let you roll it into a standard garage, sidestepping the $150 a month hangar rent that eats into most owners' budgets. The SE-1's appeal is more than just fuel math. The maintenance regime is stripped down too. As a light sport aircraft, it is eligible for owner-performed condition inspections instead of full-blown annuals from an A&P. That means less time in the shop, fewer surprises on the invoice, and a shot at keeping recurring costs under $20 an hour. For pilots priced out of certified trainers, those numbers are hard to ignore. On paper, the SE-1 promises to break the cycle of ever-climbing ownership costs. The question is whether the savings hold up when the honeymoon ends and the real-world bills start coming in. Early SE-1 owners started flying with the promise of simple mechanics and low costs, but the honeymoon didn't last long for everyone. Reports of carburetor hiccups surfaced in the first summer, fuel metering sticking on hot climbs, rough running on descent, and one case of a complete power loss during pattern work. The carburetor is proprietary, built in small batches, and every replacement or tweak comes straight from the Grand Junction factory. There is no shelf at Aircraft Spruce, no cross-reference in the Lycoming catalog, just a single phone number and a hope that someone answers. For a legacy Cessna, you can find an O200 carburetor in a dozen warehouses, or have a local shop overhaul it in a week. The SE-1 support network, by contrast, is a single point of failure. That risk isn't just theoretical. If Spirit ever folds or changes hands, every SE-1 engine instantly becomes an orphan. The Cessna's O200 may be old, but it is everywhere. Thousands of engines flying, scrapyards full of cores, and a half-century of mechanics who know every quirk. The SE-1's engine, with just 70 airframes in the wild, has no such safety net. Mission limits are hard-coded into the SE-1 airframe. 8 gallons of fuel, a single seat, and a useful load that struggles with a heavy pilot and a full tank, there is no room for a bag, a friend, or even a fat lunch. The airplane is light sport by the book, so condition inspections can be signed off by a light sport repairman instead of a full A&P mechanic. That keeps costs down, but it also means there is no deep pool of independent expertise. One missed inspection or a bad part batch, and the consequences land squarely on the owner. The SE-1 is cheap to run until something breaks that only the factory can fix. That is the price of betting on new. Reliability is measured in hours, not promises. The O200 engine in the Cessna 150 carries a published TBO of 1,800 hours, a number forged through millions of hours in the field, confirmed by A&P mechanics across the country, and supported by a worldwide supply of parts. Overhaul costs range from $16,500 for a basic teardown to $26,000 for a full rebuild with accessories. It is a known expense, and the 4-cylinder design means that even if a cylinder fails, partial power often remains, giving pilots and mechanics a margin that has been proven over decades. The Spirit SE-1's V2 engine stands in contrast. Its best claim is 780 hours, achieved on a test stand, not in real-world flying. There is no established TBO outside the lab, only accelerated test reports and the hope that actual service will match controlled conditions. With just 2 cylinders, a single failure means total power loss. There is no redundancy, no chance to limp home. Overhaul pricing is uncertain, set solely by the factory, with no independent shops or surplus parts to ease the cost. If Spirit changes ownership or closes, owners could be left with engines no one else can support. Fuel policy splits the two further. The O200 was built for 100 LL avgas, a fuel now facing an uncertain future. Some Cessnas can use MOGAs with an STC, but not all, and concerns about vapor lock and valve wear remain. The SE-1's V2 is designed for pump gas from the start, avoiding avgas's premium and the coming transition if the engine proves itself. Engineering proof is not just about test cells, it is about surviving years of real flying. The O200's numbers are earned, the V2's are still theoretical. 5 years in the spreadsheet tells the truth that sales brochures never will. Take the Cessna 150 first. Typical owner, 100 hours a year, no major surprises. Add up the hangar, insurance, annual inspections, oil, and fuel. Even with no big repairs, the running tab lands between $7,000 and $9,000 per year. Over 5 years, that is $35,000 to $45,000, and that is before you touch a wrench for anything outside routine. Throw in a mid-cycle overhaul or a surprise airworthiness directive, and the 5-year total can spike to $60,000 above purchase. The hourly burn? In the real world, $60 to $120 per hour is the honest range. That is not a scare story. It is what the receipts say year after year across 1,000 logbooks. Now run the same numbers for the Spirit SE-1. The sticker is higher, but the running costs are a different animal. No hangar bill if you garage it, no annual inspections from an A and P mechanic, and fuel at 2 gallons per hour on pump gas. The spreadsheet spits out $1,500 to $2,500 per year for everything: fuel, basic condition inspections, and a healthy engine reserve. Over 5 years, the cumulative outlay lands between $7,500 and $12,500, assuming the engine stays healthy and the factory keeps answering the phone. Hourly, that is $15 to $25. The gap is not just a couple of bucks, it is a canyon. The SE-1's total 5-year spend, including the higher purchase price, can come in $30,000 to $60,000 lower than the Cessna's, depending on how the dice roll with maintenance and storage. But the spreadsheet does not have a column for uncertainty. The Cessna's costs are ugly, but they are mapped out in decades of invoices and parts catalogs. The SE-1's numbers are a projection, not a guarantee. In black and white, the math says the new cheap can beat the old proven, if everything goes right. The real question is how much risk you are willing to buy along with your airplane. Sticker shock is only the opening act. Total cost of ownership writes the final bill. In aviation, the cheap buy-in hides expensive truths, annuals, engine overhauls, parts roulette. New or old, what matters is the math, not the myth. The numbers don't lie, but sometimes they whisper warnings you can't afford to ignore. Let me know in the comments what real-world numbers have taught you.